Thanks, Vicky. Yes, let's run through the grid for this 13th round of the Green Flag MSA British Touring Car Championship. The extra point for pole has gone to Matt Neal. The title rival James Thompson was only a fraction of a second slower. Paul O'Neill lines up third ahead of the heavily ballasted Andy Priaulx in the Honda Civic. Warren Hughes is top MG ahead of Gareth Howell, who is the fastest independent runner for this race. Back on row 4 is Croft feature winner Ivan Muller, now carrying 42 kilos of ballast. Reed carries 18 kilos in the MG. Colin Turkington is 9th and Alan Morrison is 10th after a damper problem in qualifying. The top 11 cars qualified within 1 second of each other, and that includes Reigate's Tom Chilton, who has the experienced Tim Harvey right with him. The two Protons of David Leslie and Phil Benetton next, followed by independent frontrunners Dan Eaves and Aaron Slight. Norfolk driver Carl Breeze had engine problems, but Gavin Piper sailed to a production class pole in the Alpha ahead of Mark Fullerlove's Peugeot and points leader James Kay. Croft double winner Norman Simon is next alongside Graham Saunders with Dave Allen and Spencer Marsh on row 12. Fourth in the points but only 10th in class is Jim Edwards, disappointed, as is his teammate Hyler Breeze, who was unable to set a time due to engine problems, but he will race this time thanks to the loan of an engine from the guys at Beacon Motorsport. Right, we're all set. It's absolutely beautiful weather here at Snetterton. Boiling hot. It's going to be very warm inside those cockpits. The sprint race gets underway and it's a good start from both front row men, James Thompson and Matt Neal trying to get away. Matt Neal on the left hand side there as they head up towards the first corner. James Thompson will try and go around the outside. Can he hold him off? Look at the background, Alan Morrison on the grass trying to come up towards that first corner. But I think they've managed to all get through there fairly safely as Matt Neal comes back there still side by side, and Neal just takes the lead as they come out of Sear. But James Thompson's coming back at him again.
Yeah, they're side by side going up Revit straight, and I'm not sure who's going to get into first into the S's. At the moment, Neal's got the inside, but he had a better run out of Riches, which gave him the line for Sear. That's given them first place. But certainly today, it's going to be very hot, and there the car's just fanning out as they go into the S's.
Paul O'Neill in third place is coming under attack from Warren Hughes on the outside there. Matt Neal takes the lead. Thompson Hughes comes up into third place indeed. So Paul O'Neill now has to watch out because he's got Ivan Muller behind. Into the bomb hole. Ivan Muller's got the inside line there. So Muller, who started 7th, is already up into 4th position as these two try and get away from the MG of Hughes. Paul O'Neill's being hung out to dry. A number of cars have managed to get past him, and O'Neill's gone from 3rd place to 7th.
Yeah, poor old O'Neill there. That was, he got wide going to the S's there. Hughes just barges his way down the inside. Now into the bomb hole. Somebody else comes up the inside. This time it's Muller. Muller barges his way forward. O'Neill's now lost speed. And then there is Priaulx coming through on the inside. And possibly yet another car. Reed. So he's gone. He's lost 4 places in the matter of about 400 metres.
So bad news indeed for Paul O'Neill. But look at this start from Don Boardman. What a magic start this was. He just took off and found clear space ahead of him.
Yeah, that's just like one of those video games, isn't it? When you just manage to sort of keep diving past cars in front of you. That was a fantastic start. It also shows the strength of the rear-wheel drive cars off the line. They always have a better grip levels than the front-wheel drive cars because the weight goes to the rear of the car and gives better grip.
So Matt Neal leads with James Thompson shadowing his every move, looking for a little opportunity here. Warren Hughes is... Oh, and Chilton's off. Tom Chilton spun, that's at the S's, and he's lost control. That's a great shame for the youngster. Our leader's already coming around Coram and down towards the tight corner at Russell. Let's see what happens to Chilton.
Yes, well, I think what happened, he just literally got out of line all by himself. It wasn't Tim Harvey giving a tap from behind, but just enough. He turned into the corner a bit too tight, and away it went.
So Matt Neal looking to try and gain points on Thompson here today after failing to finish both races last time out at Croft. But the safety car is out, and that is because we've got to clear up the mess down at the S's where Tom Chilton's gone off. He hasn't been able to restart the car.
Now, the water's just gone through the roof.
Okay, Matt, don't know what's going on. Keep us posted on what's happening. Keep moving.
Got 120 on the water, mate. 121.
Well, there is Chilton's car being pushed away, but big concerns for Matt Neal.
Yes, he's got high water temperature and he's been running at the front of the field, so he's not been running in the slipstream of another car where you would expect temperatures to climb. So he clearly has got some sort of engine problem.
Ready for the restart then. How long is Matt Neal going to be able to hold on to this lead? Can he coax it all the way to the finish? There's still some way to go. James Thompson is now going to do his best to squeeze past, as he did on the original start. Third place is still Warren Hughes, then it's Ivan Muller, then it's Andy Priaulx, Anthony Reed being chased there by Gareth Howell, and Howell is the top independent runner in this race at the moment, so he's doing well. But Matt Neal now coming under attack from James Thompson, who takes that inside line at Sear Corner. And surely, well, if he's got an engine problem, this is where we'll see it.
Certainly, he'll lose a bit of power with the high engine temperatures, but it's almost there, as though he pulled over to let Thompson through.
Here they come down towards the S's. James Thompson leads. Matt Neal, well, he still hasn't completely backed off, and certainly he's battling here. Here comes Ivan Muller down the inside. He takes second place, but Matt Neal still trying to defend from Warren Hughes, and Hughes looking for that way past the Export Astra. On board with Warren, up to Owen. He takes his rear bumper off as they turn in. Oh, and bang! Andy Brio, where did he come from? He launches himself down the inside of Warren, and in fact, Brio's had his rear bumper taken off by Anthony Reid. Matt Neal's pulled off at the side. It's all happening.
Yeah, that was real touring car racing there. Fantastic stuff to watch. Poor old Matt Neal there, pulling off. Clearly had an engine problem as he came in as Neal flies off at the exit of Russell Corner. But Neal there clearly had a problem, losing power. But he did a great job to let Muller through in front of him and hold up the following cars.
Well, there's smoke in the background. I also saw Tim Harvey into the pits. There's Matt Neal off the track. But we've got all sorts. Oh, it's Blenko, and his engine's gone and he's spun on his own oil. Look at the mess down there at Russell. Well, he's out of the car, but it's a real mess on the track surface. So everyone's going to have to be a little careful when they come around next time. You can see both Protons running well at the moment. Alan Morrison in the second Honda. Aaron Slight gets it all a bit sideways. As we can see, Andy Prio's bumper up there at Coram. It's come right off the car this time. Now into Russell. This is the slippery surface at the moment. And look, they're all scrabbling to find some grip. Oh, off the track goes Warren Hughes. He's run wide. And now the Peugeot. Oh, and O'Neill. That's Paul O'Neill. Has he spun it? They're all over the place here, Will.
Yeah, it's a really bad place to have it. And there's another big slide as well. So it is a really bad place to lay oil down. Here we see it on board with O'Neill. But yes, he just, no, he loses it all in that smoke there from the oil and just gets it out of shape and half spins. But it's a really dangerous place, of course. It's on the exit of the corner when you're normally trying to carry speed. And also you've got lock on the car, but of course you're not getting any response from the steering when you hit oil, and it's a very dangerous place, and clearly they've had to put the pace car out to deal with that situation.
Well, the valiant marshals are out there to clear up the mess, and I tell you what, it's made a big difference in the production class battle. Matt Neal so sadly out of this race when he desperately needed the points, but we saw the production class leaders spinning down there, and that's changed the situation around a bit. So Tom Boardman has now come up in that production class and is leading them round as they come round for the restart. James Kay and Norman Simon in particular got into a right old state over the oil. So it's Tom Boardman leading the class. Here we go, ready for the restart once again. It is James Thompson leading them across the line. Ivan Muller's coming under increasing pressure here from Andy Brio. Brio decides not to have a go into Riches, but watch out, Anthony Reid behind, then Phil Bennett and David Leslie. Warren Hughes battling with the other Honda of Alan Morrison.
Of course, the effect of the pace car is Piper taking the lead of the production class from Tom Boardman. But the effect of the pace car is to bunch all the cars up, so wherever you've got to, if you pulled out a bit of a lead, that's all gone. You've got to start again. But some great scrapping there at the front, with Prio putting Muller under a lot of pressure. But there's plenty of pressure out there all round.
James Thompson has the advantage though, and with that battle between Muller and Prio, that might give Thompson the opportunity to just draw away a little bit. It does look as though he might be able to do that. He's got about a couple of car lengths over his teammate here. Prio very neat and tidy, and then it's Reid followed by Bennett and Leslie, and Gareth Howell bouncing his way through. He's lost out partly with the oil earlier on. In fact, it's his teammate Colin Turkington in the other yellow MG who's now leading in the independence class just behind the two Protons, and in fact here comes Turkington on Warren Hughes and manages to nip up the inside.
Nice move there into Riches, but here we're on board with Fuller Love as he goes through Russell chicane. There you can hear he's definitely got some sort of drive shaft problem. He's lost one of his drive shafts, I think, and that'll be the end of his race.
Lots of revs and not much forward motion, so disappointment again for Fuller Love. How many times have we seen him go out of races this year? Ivan Muller is still in second place, chasing after James Thompson, but Andy Brio in third. Oh, and Phil Bennett's gone wide coming out of the S's, and that allows his teammate David Leslie through. Well, he won't be pleased with himself for that one. Oh, suddenly that's Alan Morrison. Big slide coming out of the bomb hole.
That was a great save there, but I noticed the oil flag was out there. We're on board actually with Phil Bennett, seeing him go off. A real bit of rally crossing there with his teammate David Leslie nipping past.
Now this is the battle for second in the production class, and James Kay nips down the inside of Tom Boardman, and Boardman better watch out, because the man who won both races at Croft, Norman Simon, his teammate, is right behind. Here's the battle for second place, and look how close Andy Priaulx is. Remember, these two were first and second last time out at Croft. They're running with a lot of success ballast on board, and Priaulx showing once again the Honda's on the pace.
Yeah, it certainly made good progress over the last couple of races, but the problem, of course, he's got here is with the engine temperatures running close behind a car in front, the engine just doesn't get clean air. And a big move there by Howell as he gets past O'Neill. Bit of a slide going through the infamous bomb hole, but as we said, temperatures are a problem here. Engine temperatures going to run high, especially running close behind another car.
Battle for second in the production class still going on here. James Kay and Norman Simon. Now look, Simon's got the inside line into the bomb hole, and he's got the grip, and Kay's forced out wide, and he can't hold on to the position. James Thompson in control here, and it looks as though it's going to be a comfortable victory for him in the end, followed home by teammate Ivan Muller. A superb win for Thompson after Matt Neal had his problems. Ivan Muller takes second, Priaulx in third, and Anthony Reid crosses the line in fourth position. Delight for Vauxhall Motorsports, they take a 1-2 result, and they'll be very, very happy with that indeed. Gavin Piper coming through in the production class after a furious battle early on. The Alfa Romeo driver is going to take the win. Second place, it looks like it's going to be the BMW of Norman Simon, with James Kay in third. James Thompson's fifth win of the season, combined with Matt Neal's retirement, gives the Yorkshireman's title chances another major boost. Priaulx takes his second podium finish in a row, with the persistent Reid in fourth. In the independence class, Colin Turkington beats Gareth Howell, but Aaron Slight's third in class means that he has stretched his points lead a little further. Tim Harvey's car suffered engine failure, putting him out of the race, but Gavin Piper's well-deserved production class win means he has 42 kilos of ballast for the feature race. Simon managed to gain some valuable points on class leader James Kay. James Thompson has finished top two in 5 of the last 6 races, but he's aware that Matt Neal was out of luck this time after a good dice.
He had some quite nice tussles with Matt quite early on. That's quite exciting.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, the key thing, we're not pulled away from the rest of them yet, so we wanted to be careful, but also have a bit of fun. Unfortunately for him, he had a problem, but that's the way it goes. And I've had my fair share this year, and it's obviously evening itself out.
It was okay. I can be only pleased to be on the podium after to start 7 and to have 60 kilo weight in the car.
We were strong in the first half of the race, and then the front started to wear away a little bit, so had to just drop back. Couldn't quite have the speed in the second half, but I'm really pleased. Done a really good job today.
Did you think that you'll just settle for third, or did you want to do a do-or-die manoeuvre somewhere?
I was thinking of do or die, to be honest. The first half of the race, a couple of times I thought maybe I should have dived, but we need good podiums this year, and I just wanted to finish the race.
Here we go then, Vicky, the lineup for the 25-lap feature race, and although James Thompson qualified fastest with a light car, he now has to carry 6.5 stone of ballast as a result of winning the sprint. Matt Neal, on the other hand, has a light Astra, and he needs to make it count. Muller will be a threat from third, but watch out for Morrison chasing his first podium finish. The two MG Sport drivers are together on the third row, Hughes then Reid, while Andy Priaulx will have his work cut out to repeat his earlier podium finish from 7th. Turkington is top independent qualifier, Leslie's hoping for a second top 5 result, and Team Atomic Kitten's Gareth Howell is 10th. Starting in 11th again is Tom Chilton, who failed to finish race 1 due to a spin and failed starter motor. Bennett's Proton is 12th, followed by Aaron Slight. The Team Halford's duo of Breeze and Eves are next, but Harvey's car hasn't made it, and Paul O'Neill had gearbox problems in qualifying. Gavin Piper has pole again in the production class, now with maximum success ballast. James Kay and Norman Simon will be giving the Scot a hard time. Dave Allen and Mark Fullerlove are next, but Alan Blenko is unable to start and leaves a hole for the fast-starting Tom Boardman. Once again, Hyler Breeze has to start at the back of the grid after his engine dramas on Saturday, but the Norwich-based Australian is at last getting some miles under his belt, having finished 9th in class in the sprint race. As ever, we have a rolling start for the feature race, 25 laps long, remember, and pit stops to be made. Here we go, James Thompson versus Matt Neal, part 2. Away they go, and Thompson actually gets a great run at the start this time. They were side by side on the opening lap last time. This time, Thompson very much with the advantage. Muller slots into third. Alan Morrison bobbing into fourth place, and in the production class it looked like Gavin Piper had the slightly better start, as turning into Sear it is definitely Thompson ahead of Neil, then Muller and Morrison.
Yeah, Thompson, of course, running the heaviest car in the grid at the moment, having won the last race, 42 extra kilos. That's a lot of weight to carry around here, and it'd be interesting to see whether he can hang on to that first position.
Well, Matt Neal already hunting him down as they head down towards the S's. You need to get on the brakes here, and that's where the lighter car perhaps is a bit more stable, easier, and Matt Neal indeed goes through into the lead, and Thompson's pushed back down to second with his teammate Muller right behind him. Then it's Alan Morrison in the Honda, Warren Hughes in the MG, chased by teammate Anthony Reid, as everybody safely making their way round. And well, with the feature race being that little bit longer, perhaps everybody takes their time a bit more on the opening lap to get it right, although Colin Turkington's lost a place or two.
Yeah, it looks like he's lost 2 places there as he ran into the S's, possibly lost a bit of speed coming off Sear, and you just get jumped towards the end of the straight. But yes, the temperatures are very high today, like 39 degrees centigrade track temperature, and I think the air ambient temperature is about 32. So very hard on the cars, the drivers, and also the tyres.
Now this is the battle in the production class, riding on board with James Kay, and he's attacking Gavin Piper, who won in the sprint race, and Kay's got the inside line up towards Richards, says thank you very much, and goes ahead of the Alpha. Matt Neal pulling away a bit from James Thompson, who with that extra success ballast still doing a good job of holding on to second position. They bounce their way over the curbs. Gareth Howell just ahead of his teammate Turkington. Kay now has pressure from Norman Simon in the BMW, who suddenly joined this battle, and he gets down the inside into the bomb hole. Kay's forced out wide, and Piper goes through as well.
Yes, Kay lost speed there coming out of the S's, and he just got jumped on by Simon and by Piper, and that was the result.
Now Andy Priaulx trying with on Anthony Reid, he makes contact there a little bit. Both survive the moment as they get on the brakes into Sear. This is the battle for 6th place, and at the moment Andy Priaulx can't quite get past the MG.
These guys, of course, have had their battle for most of the season, particularly in the last 2 or 3 races. I think Mondello Park, there was a bit of contact, so it seems to be continuing throughout the season.
Well, Priaulx's had a great run. He's finished in the top 6 in 7 out of the last 8 races. But let's get back to the battle right here between Thompson and Muller, because Muller wants to try and find a way through if he can. And look at Alan Morrison, you know, he's staying right with these two at the moment and looking towards the pit stops to perhaps make his move. Now Gavin Piper comes back in front of Norman Simon for that production class battle. This is great stuff. It's changing every lap.
You sort of see that happening at Snetterton with the dust that is thrown up on these dry, hot days. There, Morrison trying to go round the outside of Muller. That's a brave move. It'd be difficult to make that one stick, but Morrison having a very strong race.
Oh, but Ivan Muller just holds him off with late braking. Now, first of the pit stops being made, and Warren Hughes brings the MG in. Let's look for a good, tidy stop here and get him back out again. 6.4 seconds. He'll be pretty happy about that, as we see this battle between Ivan Muller and Andy Priaulx continuing. Hughes heads back onto the track. You know, he's still the only driver in this year's championship to have won a race not driving a Vauxhall Astra. But today we'll have to see what happens. There's still a great race going on up front as Hughes rejoins the field. Matt Neal looking good up front himself, ahead of James Thompson, Ivan Muller and Andy Priaulx, as this battle continues here between Gareth Howell, and Phil Bennett. Bennett's gone down the inside here, trying to get into Sear corner. Runs a bit wide on the exit. He's run very wide. In fact, he's on the grass coming out.
Yeah, he's taking the rallycross route there, but Howell did a good job by forcing Bennett to carry more speed into Sear, and as a result, he just ran wide and lost a lot of time.
James Thompson comes in. He comes in a bit too fast. Went a little far down the pit lane. That won't help him at all. That'll help the team. He stalled it. He stalled it as well. That was not a textbook stop from James Thompson.
Not at all. I think he lost more than 6.28 seconds. I think there's at least 2 or 3 seconds extra when he stalled that engine. So I'd be surprised if he's still in the position he had before he came in.
Well, that position was second, remember, behind Matt Neal, but ahead of Ivan Muller. So I wonder if Ivan's going to have an opportunity here. And is he coming into the pits? Yes, he is. Ivan Muller heads into the pit lane. So this is a crucial stop. Matt Neal still our race leader. Morrison now up into second place in the Honda. He'll be pleased about that. He's only had a couple of 5th places so far this year. Muller comes in, a bit tidier, a bit neater into his pit bay. Also coming in is Paul O'Neill. Not Matt Neal, the race leader, but his teammate, Paul O'Neill. And I can hear Muller's already accelerating his way down the pit lane. So Muller has made a good stop, and the wheels got stuck on O'Neill's car. So there's a problem there. Here comes Muller, and he rejoins, and he's coming out just in front of Thompson. So he did gain the time. Thompson losing that time on the pit stop.
Yeah, as we expected, that stall from Thompson really has messed his race up, and he's lost now 2 valuable seconds.
Battle in the production class still going on here. Norman Simon in the BMW, Gavin Piper right behind him in the Alfa Romeo, and then the Honda of James Kay. 3 different manufacturers in the battle for the win in the production class, and Simon's gone wide. Piper goes through, retakes the lead in the class, and in fact Simon loses second and I think third as well to Dave Allen. Morrison's gone off. Alan Morrison crashing out, and that's on the exit of Coram.
That is the fastest corner on the circuit. That you're doing about 125 miles an hour around that corner, so that is a very, very quick accident.
Leader is in, but they've got a problem on the left front. It's a bit of a slow stop. Andy Prio's in behind him. Matt Neal waiting. Finally gets going. In fact, Prio gained a lot, 6.1 seconds only for Prio against 8.9 seconds for Matt Neal. And they're coming out as both Muller and Thompson are heading up the straight here. It's going to be a close run thing. Back onto the track, and in fact Muller and Thompson just squeezing past them. Neal comes back in behind, Prio joins him. Now they're not leading the race, this bunch, but they are the leaders of those that have stopped so far, and it looks as though Ivan Muller is the man who's gained most.
That's interesting. Now you've got Neal and Prio both on fresh front tyres. They won't have their grip levels right up. The 2 MGs behind are going to be running very strongly down the Revit straight here. Be very interesting to see whether they can take advantage of the extra grip they've got.
Well, let's see what happens. Andy Prio moving to the left slightly. There's one of the MGs already going past. It's Warren Hughes. Anthony Reid is somewhere around. Oh, there's Anthony Reid. They can just see him squeezing past as well. Andy losing out.
It's very tough when you come out of the pits. You need 2 or 3 corners to get those tyres up to temperature.
Tom Chilton leads this race at the moment, and now in fact he's coming into the pit. So Tom Chilton and Carl Breeze, they were 1 and 2 in the race, but they now come into the pits. Problems here for Spencer Marsh. Looks like he's picked up some sort of advertising hoarding, and that's not making life very easy. Let's see what happened. Boardman crosses the hoarding in front of him, flicks it straight up onto his windscreen.
It looks like a large toilet roll, doesn't it?
Well, the safety car is out, and that's because they're trying to move the car of Alan Morrison, which is remarkably undamaged. It hit the airbag barriers at Coram.
Alan, I didn't expect to see you quite so soon.
No, we've got a blowout in the front left round Coram, and it's a difficult corner with good tyres, never mind with the flat tyres. And there's nothing they could do, you know, the car just steered itself straight into the tyres.
Well, we're ready for the restart now, and it's Ivan Muller ahead of James Thompson. Then it's Matt Neal, the 2 MGs come through, and here's Andy Prio involved in a battle now with Gareth Howell, and Howell is the top independent runner again in this race. Let's see if he can hold on, and in fact maybe even get past Prio.
Yes, Howell running very well with the quite light, and Prio there making a mistake just like Bennett did by running wide and getting on that roller coaster ride on the dirt. Doesn't do the car a lot of good, but he looks like he's lost the place he's just gained.
So indeed, Howell moves up 1, but up front it's still Muller versus Thompson and Matt Neal. And look how close Matt Neal is again to the back of Thompson. Now, Neal lost his time, remember, in the pit stop. He was leading this race in the early stages. He does have a light car compared to Thompson's heavy car with success ballast. There's Gareth Howell. Gareth Howell made a mistake there.
Huge slide turning into the bum hole. The bum hole is a very committed corner, very banked as you can see, but had a big tank slapper as he turned in.
So back down towards the Russell chicane, and it's still Ivan Muller from James Thompson and Matt Neal. Then it's Hughes and Reid, and indeed, look, Howell lost 2 places as a result of that slide. Let's take another look.
Here we are on board as you turn into the bomb hole. There, the back goes round. You just lose momentum. That was just enough for Andy Prio to nip up the inside of Coram, this very fast 5th gear corner.
So he gains the spot. And up front still Muller. In fact, look, Matt Neal's got past Thompson. Matt Neal has moved up into 2nd place. So while that was all going on, Matt Neal taking advantage of James Thompson and now going chasing after the race leader. Behind still the 2 MGs of Warren Hughes, and Hughes making a little bit of a move on Thompson himself, but not able to squeeze down the inside. And Anthony Reid shadowing his every move. Battle in the production class here, James Kay versus Gavin Piper. They're still raging away as Phil Bennett turns into the Russell chicane just ahead of them.
James Kay now exiting Russell hairpin. And there, James Kay runs wide over the curb and onto the dirt. That should give Piper a lot more momentum coming out that corner, give him a chance to get back the class lead.
Well, talking of momentum, look at Matt Neal. He's got great momentum on Ivan Muller, and this is for the outright lead. We're on board Muller, and there goes Matt Neal. Takes the place away. Well, Matt Neal desperately needs the points here this weekend, and now he's got back in front. And here was the end of that manoeuvre that we were seeing going on. In fact, turning into the next corner, Rich's Piper gets it all wrong, heads off towards Thetford.
Yeah, it's Thetford and a Maysfield by looks of things, but Classic Kay did a good job there. He made Piper stay on the inside of the corner, forced him to take a compromised line, and the result was, well, as you said, he ended up on his way to Thetford.
James Thompson still trying to fend off the two MGs right behind. Look how close the battles are. Norman Simon talking about close battles. He's gone off in this battle in the production class, and that's down at the S's.
Yeah, let's see if we can see what happened there. We go on board here with James Kay. And there in the front, right at the front there, you see Simon just loses it as he turns into the left-hand of the S's. I think he just got wide onto the dirt. As we said earlier, the track is getting very dirty, all this dust, and bits of rubber thrown up to the outside. It looks like he just got onto the wrong line and lost it.
Now back with the leaders in the touring class, and overall it's Matt Neal still in front of Ivan Muller. These two just a little bit ahead of James Thompson. Matt Neal having to watch his mirrors because the Frenchman is all over him once again. And in fact, here he comes. Muller's gone past. Matt Neal must have a problem. He's slowed right down. He's moving to the outside, and for the second time today, Matt Neal looks as though he's heading for retirement.
I wonder if this is another puncher.
All right, Kev, we've had something let go on the transmission, mate, of pull off on the inside of Coram.
Not our day, is it? Sorry, mate.
Well, he's pretty calm about it, isn't he? He's been racing the British touring cars for 11 years and he's experienced a few things, but that's got to be one of the most disappointing moments. Here comes James Kay getting past Graham Saunders for the lead in the production class, so it's the Honda going ahead. Once more, Tom Boardman running third with Gavin Piper in fourth. Now, let's take a look at what happened to Reed a moment ago.
Yeah, there's Reed going to Sear, well locked up, but looks like he's got some sort of braking problem, or maybe it's a puncher. I know, of course, Neil's problem wasn't a punch, it was a transmission problem, but a shame that he was running strongly in third place.
Well, they're very disappointing indeed. Yeah, look at that shredded front left there. That was the cause of Reed's demise. He is coming back out, but there's not really much chance of him scoring any points in this race. But this man should be on course for scoring points. Look at the sky. A lot of cloud around now. It's still very warm, but we could be heading for thunderstorms. Let's see if the rain holds off for the remainder of this race. Warren Hughes, meanwhile, under attack from Andy Priaulx.
Yes, another good scrap. The MGs and the Hondas have been scrapping all day, and here, as Priaulx turns into Rich's, trying to get an advantage on Hughes in front of him.
Oh, look at this. David Leslie's out of the race. The local team, Team PSP based at East Dereham, not far away, but that's his first retirement since the opening meeting of the season at Brands Hatch. Look at Colin Turkington. Now trying to make a move on Andy Priaulx. He's diving down the inside into the bomb. Oh, Andy Priaulx can't fend him off, and in fact, he must have a problem.
I've got a front left on.
Well, that's great disappointment for Andy. He was right with Warren Hughes a moment ago, now dropped right back, and Phil Bennett's in the pits as well. He's got troubles. Looks as though he's picked up a puncher. Look at the rim down there on the right-hand side. So they've had to change his wheels and send him back on his way, so it's proving a tough time the latter part of this race. Here comes Priaulx.
Yeah, but he hasn't got a punch. If you look at the front there, he's got two good front tyres, so clearly he's got some other sort of problem, obviously some sort of transmission issue.
James Kay leads in the production class, and in fact, look there, not far behind him is the overall race leader, Ivan Muller, nearly putting a lap on the production class leader. But James has managed to pull away slightly from Gavin Piper there in second. There's our overall leader, Ivan Muller, coming through, and he's also got himself a little bit of a healthy advantage over James Thompson, who's running second in the class. It's been a superb afternoon, this, for Vauxhall Motorsports, you have to say, with James Thompson winning the first race, the sprint race this afternoon, and Ivan Muller finishing second. It looks as though it's going to be reversed positions to the finale of the feature race. Ivan Muller comes up.
Well done, guys.
He's over the moon about that. A fantastic weekend for him. James Thompson takes second place. Warren Hughes a fine third place for MG Sport. I have to say it's been disappointment for Honda. Andy Priaulx going out towards the end. Alan Morrison looked as though he might be a podium finisher himself earlier in the race until the puncture. But coming through to win the production class, it is James Kay. It was hard fought and well deserved, and that's his fourth win of the season in the class. We'll be delighted about that one. Ivan Muller, the winner. We'll speak to him after the break. Ivan Muller can celebrate a good weekend at Snetterton. His earlier second place backed up by the win in the feature, earning him a total of 28 points, his best points haul of the season. The fifth Vauxhall Motorsports 1-2 comes as an entirely trouble-free weekend for the red and white saw them dominate the podiums. Hughes scoops his first top three since he won at Silverstone, Turkington takes his third independent win in 4 races, and Carl Breeze earns his best result to date. Slight has done enough to keep his Indy points lead, while James Kay has proved once again that he has guile and racecraft as well as pure speed. Tom Boardman was a delighted third in class.
At least it's long time I didn't finish both races in the meeting, so I'm happy. 1 second place, 1 first place with maximum weight, so I can be pleased with the weekend and I can be pleased with the guys because they done a good job during all weekend.
You know, I'm very happy. We've had a pole, a win and a second. You know, it's one of the best weekends of the year, you know, to be honest, or equal the best one.
It was a good, tough scrap with Anthony, and he asked if I would let him through at one point, and I said no. But I just wanted to see what my true pace was. Once I realised he had a little bit of an edge, I said, go on then, you can go. And but then he had a problem, so it's great podium though. The MG is just a super chassis, and it's the chassis particularly that's enabled us to get a good podium.
Everything just went really well today. The car was behaving brilliantly, and things just went my way, so I'm over the moon.
We were leading to start with, then we were back in 4th, then we're 3rd, then we're leading again, then we're back to 4th again. I mean, it was just an incredible race. I'm glad I won it.
James was putting me under a bit of pressure, and I basically just overcooked it into the first corner. Had a bit of a rally excursion, you could say, onto the grass, and then just had to fight my way back to the try and chase James, basically, but gutted, basically.
Having arrived at Snetterton with a 17-point advantage over Matt Neal, James Thompson leaves with a 25-point lead over Ivan Muller. Neal has less than he started the meeting with, losing 5 points as a result of an extra engine change, and may have to glance over his shoulder for the relentless Anthony Reid. In the production class, James Kay marches onward to the title he missed in the last 2 years. Norman Simon has pulled clear of Marsh, but Edwards will be disappointed to go home, having gained just 1 point from the 2 races. There's no doubt about which team enjoyed the Norfolk track the most. Vauxhall Motorsport had a simply brilliant weekend. The big losers, however, were Export, who failed to score at all in the feature after Matt Neal's problems and find themselves tied for second with MG Sport and Racing. Vauxhall's record is now 13 wins in 14 races, even though Vauxhall's motorsport manager Mike Nicholson looks ever more concerned at the difficulty of winning. MG holds second place, Honda was hoping for more, and Proton still has work to do. In the Independents Cup, Aaron Slight has maintained his points lead, but Dan Eves is close behind, and Gareth Howell has moved above Tim Harvey.